everybody, welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm coming at you with an interesting video for you today. I want to talk about a tent. The tent that I want to talk about is a REI Passage 2. Now this is a two-person tent, but I'm going to give you my opinion on tent manufacturers and their ratings. When they say a two-person tent, to me that means two people with no gear or one person with gear. That's what it means to me. So if they say one-person tent, it's going to be tight. If they say two-person, I think myself, my backpack, all my gear, and my sleeping stuff will fit in this tent. So now when it comes to this Passage 2, when you open it up, comes with a little bit of stuff. Comes with a really nice stuff sack to begin with. So I open it up, and that's what's inside. I just got this because we went on vacation. We went to California and we needed a new tent to camp in. In fact, my daughter has her own tent and I got this for me. So it comes with this little card talking a little bit about tent maintenance and cleaning it and how the sun will affect the material, the poles, fire. Talks about preparing to pitch the tent, using a rainfly, how to ventilate the tent, the stakes, the poles. It's just like a little instruction booklet, if you would. So it comes with these little guidelines, which is pretty cool. But more specifically, you have right here, you have the rainfly, and then this is the tent itself. You also have this little package which has the poles, and I also keep the stakes inside here. So let me show you what the poles and stakes look like. So there's the poles, and here are the tent stakes. Now these tent stakes that come with the tent, in my opinion, are very cheap. However, most of the time I don't even use them. And in the container that holds, in the pouch that holds the tent stakes, you'll notice there's this pipe. I'll explain that in a second. Now here's the tent stakes. They're aluminum. They're about, I don't know, 6 inches long or something. They get the job done. The tent poles, I really like these. There's two different poles. They're the same size. It's just two of them. So you got one here and one there. Then you have this little pipe. I always try to keep everything organized when I'm messing with a tent. So I'm going to put the pole, the tent stake bag inside the pole bag, and that's going to go in the main bag. I always try to keep everything lined up. Now what this pipe is for is in the event that you for some reason accidentally break one of these poles, this pipe will fit over the broken area. Like, let's just say, just for the sake of the video, say this bent section right here where this bungee cord is, let's just pretend that's the break, okay? So I'm going to slide this over the broken area and then use some duct tape on either side, and that will restructure that pole. So that's what this is for. And again, I keep that with my tent stakes in that little bag. So the poles, they go together real easy. They have nice bungee cord material inside. They fit together real nice. They're aluminum poles. And both of these poles, like I mentioned earlier, they're exactly the same. Now, one of the features that I'll note is when I hold this up to the camera, you can see how the aluminum has like this groove on the end of it. You see that? That's pretty cool. Both poles do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put these poles together, and then I'll show you how I throw this tent down. This tent is really nice. It goes up real well. So I just take it like this, just like that. I have both poles. If you hear any digging in the background, my daughter's digging a new fire pit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tent itself, After I've kind of cleared the ground, I want to clear the area, make sure there's no cactus or thorns or anything that's going to damage the bottom of the tent. So once I get that cleared, then I'll lay this baby down. Just like this. That knurled end, we're going to put it in this far hole here. And we'll do the same thing right here. We'll just kind of bend the pole. Whoops, it slipped out. Go back. So I'm just going to bend this pole a little bit. And I'm going to put the other end right here in this grommet. Now I'll do the same thing with this. Right there. Kind of bend the pole and it'll fit in this grommet right here. Just like this, nothing too crazy. Now I'll take both poles and I'll raise them to the top, to the center. And then in the center of the tent, there's one big hook, and I'll hook both of these poles. From here, I have these little hooks. I have 1, 2, 3. There's number 4. So there's 4 little hooks. I have 4 more that go right here. So each side of the pole has 4 little hooks, and they just fit really nice right around the pole. So I connect all of those. And let's do this last side over here. And that's what it looks like. That is the Passage 2 by REI. It's a great tent. It's a little windy right now, which brings up a good thought, and that is, why did they use these hooks instead of running the poles through material like a lot of tents do? They use the hooks because the hooks allow the wind to flow around the surface of the tent. So there on the side you can see that it says Passage 2. You can see that there's a door on this side, and there's also a door on this other side right here. So the tent has 2 doors, and the doors have 2 zippers. I usually keep them together right in the middle right here, so I can zip this back all the way to there, zip this back to there, and then if we look right here, there's a little section right here. What we could do is we can open this door and use this little tail right here, and inside there's this little plastic tag that's in my hand. So I put the door out of the way and I run the toggle through this little loop right here. That holds the door open for me. There's plenty of room inside the tent for 1 person in his gear, or 2 people with bedrolls with no gear. It's a nice tent. Now I want to note one thing real quick. If you look at the grommets, or excuse me, the tie out points where the poles go, there's 3 orange ones. See, that one's orange, this one's black, right back there. See, that one's black. And then that other far corner, which will be this corner back here, that one's also orange. You're probably wondering, well, what's that about? Well, that's because the rainfly has the same type of color coding. It's got 3 orange and a black one. So when it comes time to put the fly up, we just look for the black grommet, which is, again, it's this one right here. That black tie out point. So the fly goes up really easy. Nothing too crazy, putting the fly up. Now I'm not going to stake the tent out today, but so when we put the fly out, we just look for the one that has black. See that? I have 4 of them in my hand. There's a black one. That's the one I want. It's going to correspond to this black corner right over here. So I'll take the fly right over the top. Again, I have my black tie-out point. It'll connect underneath this pole right here. 1. 2, 3, and let me show you this bottom corner real quick. So this is how I connect it. So I take those connections from the fly. They have this little grommet. I just lift the tent up and I stick it underneath. Then you have these straps that you can tighten around the tent. Now you have the fly installed. There's a couple more simple little steps, and that is we need 2 stakes to stake out this grommet that's on the ground for the fly. So that could be done really easily. So I take one of these stakes, I pull the fly out, and I put the stake in the ground. Thank you. So now I'm staked down with my fly, and the doors on the fly create a vestibule underneath on both sides of the tent. So right now, down here at the bottom, there's a piece of Velcro and you see a zipper right there. There's also a zipper at the top up here. So I could open this up like a door and crawl inside the tent if I choose to. This area outside of the tent right here, this area, in case it was raining, I could have my stove and I could be cooking and stuff like right there while it's raining. And I have this door open. And if I choose to close this door, I can, you know, not let the bugs come in on me and stuff like that. But this is what the vestibule is. Same thing on this other side. This door is shut, but you can see that there's a vestibule area there also. So if there was 2 people in this tent and they both wanted to cook, like one guy's cooking bacon and the other guy's cooking eggs, you could have one guy cooking here. You could also put your gear, say it's raining and I don't want my shoes to get wet, I put them under the vestibule, but they're out of the tent. So the only thing that's inside the tent is me, my bedroll, my sleeping pad, things like that, my headlamp. Now, I'm laying down right in the center. You can see that this tent for me has just the perfect amount of space. See that? And at the very top, you can see that there's a little area where I could put my car keys or my wallet, something light. And you could also move this out of the way if you wanted to use this attachment point right here off those poles. You could hang like a small LED lantern or something like that. But I like keeping that thing connected right there because I like putting my car keys and stuff up there when I stay the night in the tent. Now outside on the vestibule, you can see these guys. There's one here and then there's one right here. Those are for ventilation. If I undo this zipper right here, it's a little tricky to do with one hand holding the camera here, but if I undo this zipper all the way and open the vestibule, you'll see that I have another attachment point right there, and there's also another toggle. So I could I could close the vestibule door independent of the actual door of the tent. That's nice because if I'm worried about bugs, then I'll close the tent door. But if I still want to see like the stars at night or something like that, I could leave the vestibule open, but I still have rain coverage in case it starts to rain. And if it starts raining, then I just release this toggle and shut this vestibule door. Now earlier I was pointing out these things. What these are is these are air vents. So if I want more airflow, this is like a solid piece and it kind of lifts up and it attaches to some Velcro right here. What that does, it creates airflow through the top of the tent. That's good because if you're cooking and you're developing carbon monoxide in the vestibule, this creates a spot for that carbon monoxide to escape. If you look all the way through, you can see where if you had a small fire or anything in the vestibule, which is not really a good idea, but if you did in a pinch for warmth, you can see where that carbon monoxide would come out. It also works very good for in the summertime when you need more airflow, more ventilation, and things of that nature. So that, my friends, is the REI Passage 2. It's a great little tent. I paid around 159 bucks for it. It's a great tent. Something that I would recommend that you get after you get the tent would be a footprint for that tent. Does not come with the tent. Now what a footprint is it's basically just a piece of cloth that goes underneath the bottom of the tent here, so that your tent floor is not coming in direct contact with this ground. That's what this footprint does. They're about 30 bucks. They're well worth it though, and they're also color coded. They have 3 orange and 1 black on these footprints, and they're proprietary to whatever tent you need. So this one is for the Passage 2. It's definitely worth the money, in my opinion. Now these tie outs, there's a lot of things that you can use these tie outs for.